Hi there, this is Jennifer Clough, and it's pitch dark in the rainforest today because it's pouring with rain on New Year's Day. But I'm here to continue our lesson for novice teachers in helping the novice band student who needs remedial work. So when last we left, we had the head joint attached to the body and the foot joint was still in the case. Now this has the advantage of making the flute a lot lighter, and with right hand on the barrel, the student can focus on some of the finer points. You can teach them as these are the finer points that the pro players use. One of the first things I'd like to talk about is placement of the left hand, because a lot of people don't discover that they have left hand placement issues until they start using the A flat key. Alright, now the A flat key, for those of you who aren't familiar, it's also called the G sharp key. Mine has an extension built on it, so hopefully you're showing this to a student with a flute that looks like theirs. Apologies for mine. Patricia George, who always has really clever teaching ideas, came up with the idea that placing your pinky on first is a much better gauge of where your index finger will end up against the body of the flute. Once again, my flute looks different because I have a little spongy pencil grip there for protecting my left forefinger, because I've had left hand problems for years. Anyways, Patricia George, said that if you place your pinky first, you'll end up with a much more facile hand position. So have the student experiment with that, because it's so lightweight he or she can hold the flute at the barrel, right hand on the barrel, and experiment with that. And talk about the professional effect of having that hand be really light. Like if that hand is really, really light on the flute and not pressing too hard or doing anything that's clampy, that it'll move a lot faster. And what you're going to do is you're going to teach them to go up and down on the keys very, very lightly. I say like it's like a butterfly wing vet, and if the vet had to put a little splint on a little butterfly wing, it has to be so light that he doesn't kill the butterfly. So that's how light you want. Now, obviously you've tested your student's flute, because if they in fact have a leaking flute, touching lightly like this, the note isn't going to seal and they're not going to get a clear G. So you want to make sure you've tested their flute first lesson when they come to visit you, because the flutes go out of adjustment really fast, and students need to know exactly how much repair work their flute needs, how much it's going to cost usually, because everyone's complaining about money, and when their flute's going to come back, and then from then on to look after it so it never gets leaks again. So that's a topic I've covered lots of times. But in this case, being that those topics have been dealt with by you as the novice teacher right off the bat, now we're just talking about getting a clean seal on a note. And this is where it gets to be fun for trilling. Teaching students to trill is really easy because they all want to do it. Alright, so I would do little butterfly, wing things on A to B. And the thumb key at the back. Let's see if we can see that. And what you're correcting is things like the finger coming way off. I mean, obviously you don't need that anymore. You place the pinky first. All the other fingers feel comfortable because the right hand on the barrel. They can even do C to C sharp. And you can work with G to B, skipping notes. And keeping those fingers down and close to the keys. And just cloak it all in the fact that this is how professionals are, and send them to watch a video online of a professional playing a piece of music. And with the exception of Emmanuel Paoud in his Vivaldi clip on YouTube, who's going like this, most professionals have their fingers very, very close to the keys all the time, and that's what you're going to be doing in your GAB pieces that you have, like simplified pieces. Okay, now in order not to go over the video time limit here, putting on the right hand. Now, if the flute is resting on the shoulder and they're watching their fingers for the whole lesson anyways, this is a good time to put on the right hand. The right hand approaches the flute the same way that you would pick up a book at that height. So I'm going to put a book at that height. And this is a great flute book, by the way. This is the one I recommend for a remedial student. It's really cheap. It's like $10, Howard Harrison. And it's got everything. It's got counting rhythms, pictures of people blowing, everything. But the only thing it doesn't have is a good picture of flute posture. It has all kinds of diagrams. But that one, this video would be the correction of. Now, when you pick up a book, how would you do it? By the spine like that, right? So look where your hand position is and do that a bunch of times. That's natural. Your hand wants to do that. That's how it works. Okay? You could have a candle there. You could have a tube of, a cardboard roll there, and it would show the same thing. A wooden spoon. Okay? If you don't have a book, I'm sure everyone has a book. Okay? And then the flute does the same thing. And in this way, you stop this from happening. A lot of students have learned to play in band with their thumb sticking way out like that. You want the thumb to approach just as it does on the book. Okay, it's neither completely, wait, there you go. It's not completely under the flute, okay? It's coming at the tube and stopping where the fingers naturally curve over as though they're picking something up. Okay, now you'll notice, okay, if you lift the flute head joint off your shoulder, you'll notice that the farther ahead you push the thumb, the more the flute head joint swings. Okay, that's your pivot. That index finger right there is your pivot. Okay, and the flute is pivoting on there, so pivot it a few times, because that's how you move the flute into your chin. You want that flush plate that we were talking about before, and if you don't want to do it by pulling the flute into your chin, which is a lot of motion and a lot of static muscles develop over time. You want the flute to pivot into your chin with the lightest possible natural motion of the right hand. So that's it for today. Did a ton of exercise with just the head joint only. And I was using the Mel Bay first lesson book, and it has all these groovy rhythm beats on the CD, and the head joint only person is going like toot, rest, toot, rest. It was great. I thought that was the Mel Bay rhythm book. I'll put the link for it. But it was like a $10 book, and that's something every novice teacher should have for the head joint only exercises with groovy backing CD. And I also played a bunch of GAB pieces, just with the left hand, by jamming along with Mo Coffin. Where is that? Oh, here's the books. There's the Mel Bay book. Ooh, first lesson for the flute with CD. It's not bad. It's not bad. You can obviously move around with books. This is the Mo Kaufman CD. The opening piece is Swingin' Shepherd Blues, which is what made me want to play the flute when I was a little kid. One of the pieces, that, and Mo Kaufman plays Bach. And you can just play a whole bunch of G quarter notes to it and A quarter notes to it. It was fabulous, so I would use that. And finally, just because it's sitting here, I mentioned the Howard Harrison book. That one's great for remedial adults, remedial novices, good tunes, everything good about it. Nothing bad about that book except the picture of the student standing really stiff. And the Karen Smithson book, Playing the Flute, this is a whole series. This book is the piano accompaniments. This is where I would go if the teacher plays piano. It's got all the pieces in brilliant order. So Playing the Flute, the piano accompaniment. But that's all on my website. Okay, I'm shutting up now. Okay, see you guys. I'm going to say hope that helps. Hope that helps. Okay, talk to you. Bye.